The box office has been flush with Oscar contenders the past couple of weeks, from A Real Pain to Emilia Perez to Conclave. Between these movies and the three of us, we've got a lot of opinions to sit through. So why don't we start with Emilia Perez, or as I call it, the Mob Wives of Waverly Place.
Or as I call it, why are these hoes singing at me?
No, I'm sorry. I can't do that criticism. You accept that it's a musical or you don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now,
here's why
it's a
I
bad
asked that
musical.
question. Yeah, here's why I asked this question about why are they singing. Because for one, I found none of the songs grippy enough or compelling enough to be there. They weren't great songs. And two, if you took out all of those songs, the plot of the film itself was enough to keep your attention. It just felt like the songs got in the way. They weren't necessary, and they weren't good songs. I like this movie. I love it even more with no music.
I feel like the songs, though, are just there to deliver a narrative, and we should get into what this narrative is, because one thing is for sure, when you go and see Emilia Perez, you have not seen a movie like it. Maybe you will recall some Pedro Almodovar twists and turns and zaniness and colorful visuals, but otherwise it's pretty own thing. Okay, we'll get into it, but. It's this movie about Zoe Saldana, who is a lawyer who is randomly kidnapped and recruited to help this cartel leader transition and leave no trace of their life behind. So she has to move this person's family into secrecy, and this person's wife is played by Selena Gomez. And it's a musical. It is very taut, very violent. It's very Almodovar with guns, kind of. But otherwise, let's just start with the performances. Zoe Saldana, who is getting a lot of buzz for being a Best Supporting Actress nominee, she is amazing. Not a thing about that performance is supporting. She is the lead of this movie.
She's the lead.
So if she ends up in supporting at the Oscars, that is category fraud like nothing we've seen since like Timothy Hutton and Ordinary People, which is a phrase that comes out of my mouth once an episode. But I thought Zoe Saldana in this movie was amazing. I thought every single time she was on screen, she was captivating. Knew the tone of the movie before we did. I was adjusting to her. I didn't feel like she was ever doing anything that the movie is so filled with sensations and noise and music, and I felt like she had this tempered attitude towards it all and just a cool look that really served the movie really well.
I did not like this movie one bit. I found a lot of the movie nasty, to be honest, and sort of cruel, and a little bit cruel just in its depiction of Emilia Perez, a trans woman, in its depiction of Mexico. The director, by the way,
is French, right?
Yes. The director, Jacques Audiard, also directed A Prophet. He's French, and there's no reason you can't play in someone else's cultural sandbox. But the Almodovar comparisons are obviously coming up because it is, a melodrama. It's telenovela-esque. It's soapy. It's pulpy.
All women characters. All women characters.
All women characters. And the transition, the problematic-ness of it, given some of the reviews, like people should read Heron Walker's review in Vulture specifically. But it recalls The Skin I Live In, a messy Almodovar film starring Antonio Banderas, which has sort of a similar transgender plot line in it. Anyway, I just feel like his stories and the small towns that he focuses on, in Spain, his home country, sort of elevate these characters and elevate the place that they're living in, and sort of makes you feel just sort of sympathy towards them, makes you feel like it's sort of a love letter to those places. And I don't know, you're supposed to feel maybe some sympathy for Emilia Perez, but I kind of don't. I feel like she's a despicable character, and I feel like there's just no empathy in this movie, and I feel like there's no empathy towards Mexico in the movie. I love Zoe Saldana's character, but even the moment where, she starts out the movie very dark-skinned, poor Mexican woman who's working for this high-powered lawyer, and then later when you see her when she has some money, she's got the bust down, the skin is lighter, she's being lit better. It's just very okay, step into your whiteness, sis. And she's like, oh, I don't miss Mexico, I think it's just, the film was very nasty to me.
I didn't get that at all. Go ahead.
I was really perplexed in the ways the character who needed the most development got the least development. I'm talking about the trans drug lord Kingpin. I wanted more of that backstory. I wanted more of that backstory and the motivations of that person and what happened to them before, after, and next, and I didn't get that. So much of the energy of this film felt misdirected. As much as I love Zoe Saldana, they spent so much time on her character and not enough on the trans kingpin. They spend an unnecessary amount of time making me look at Selena Gomez's bad dye job and watch her sing. And it felt like it was like overkill, when what I really wanted was a character development of the central character, which we never got. But instead I just get like more songs that weren't great, in my opinion.
Again, I think the songs are there to deliver a narrative. It's not really like a pop musical. If you were looking for Mamma Mia, do not go to this musical. But I feel like I concur on the front that this character who was introduced to us just as somebody who kidnaps Zoe Saldana and seems like a familiar thug in a movie turns out to be this trans woman who then becomes friends with Zoe Saldana. And as the movie progresses, she wants to be reunited with her family, and she gets Zoe to tell them that a distant relative of their father will be taking care of them, and so they're shipped off to her, and they're unaware that this is their post-transition father. So there's like a lot of mistaken identity, sort of a 12th nightiness to this, if you will, like not recognizing people. Some might say Mrs. Doubtfire. It's a trope throughout American history. But it is interesting that immediately we're just this person who once kidnapped Zoe Saldana is now somebody we're supposed to be sympathetic to and is in fact so in love with their family. But like, I think that's part of the whiz bang of this movie. Just you're trucking along, like you hit these crazy bumps. It's meant to be uncomfortable and strange and like kind of goofy. I have never lived in Mexico. I'm not going to jump in on any criticisms that say this is portraying Mexico one way or another or disgustingly or whatever. Maybe that's the case for some people. I really treated this like a caper that turned out everything from every character. Like, I did not expect much from Selena Gomez, and by the end of this movie, I thought she did give an impressive performance. I wouldn't say it was Oscar caliber, but again, we're light this year, and it wouldn't surprise me.
She opened her mouth, which is a new thing for her. Like, literally, her jaw is wired shut in Only Murders.
I love Selena Gomez, as I've said on the show before. I prefer her acting, to be honest. I think she's a very funny, sort of gifted actress. I thought this was one of her best performances, to be honest, but I feel like these songs just really did not do her character any service. The first one where she's singing, when she's sort of like waking up in bed and she's in this new world, I just feel like the songs weren't illuminating. If you want to talk Almodovar and melodrama, those characters in melodrama love a monologue and backstory. Like you said, we learned not much about Emilia Perez. Of why she wanted to transition, other than a very dopey conversation, with Zoe Saldana and a doctor about how, like she could become her true self, and it felt very platitudes about transitions from people who just haven't experienced life as a trans person, let alone a queer person. Zoe Saldana is the lead ostensibly, but you also don't learn a single thing about her, really, why she makes the choices she does in the film. I really thought that I appreciated the boldness of the film.
It's very bold.
In terms of, the numbers themselves a lot of them are beautifully done. And I think it's a very dynamic way to present, a musical on screen. But ultimately the music wasn't good for me. The story wasn't good. And I felt no empathy for anybody in this film.
My bar for a good musical is that I should leave the movie theater with at least one melody or song stuck in my head. And if that doesn't happen, the songs weren't hitting and they should have been better songs. None of these songs were sticky enough to merit being such a big part of the film, in my opinion.
Well, the sex surgery song definitely stuck in my head, which is a wild, potentially Razzie nominating scene. I'm sorry, that scene where Zoe Saldana is going around looking at, different people who could do the transition surgery for Emilia Perez, people singing about penises and vaginas and things. I was like, am I watching Rocky Horror?
But I think also it's like I feel like you're pigeonholing this movie as a musical when it is basically a musical secondarily. Like I'm not saying there aren't.
Then don't
songs
sell
in
it to me first as a musical. They're like, it's a musical.
No, they aren't. Who cares that you heard that? I'm just saying there's a lot. There's a lot else going on in this movie that you have to ignore in order to say, oh, this is just a musical with bad songs. I think there's a lot more going on in this movie.
I like when the other things are going on. I just felt like I was like on a ride, and then I would get distracted by a mediocre song. And that was my beef.
I just don't think that whether or not it's being billed as a musical should detract away from the fact that the music is bad. Like, I just don't think it's good music, to be honest.
I thought
I agree.
I thought the music was basically versions of monologues for the characters that do a lot of the backstory explaining you're saying didn't happen.
Okay. I'm going to go watch it again.
Meanwhile, we should get it to Conclave while we have time. Conclave is
sexy
about,
popes.
Yes.
Yeah, baby.
By the way, I can't imagine not going into this movie and not having like one of your favorite actors in it. There are so many people in this movie who are fantastic. You got Ralph Fiennes as the main cardinal. It's about a pope has died, and now the cardinals are getting together to figure out who's going to be the next pope. And it's basically a gossipy, lots of whispers and corridors, and like, who is this cardinal secretly disqualified, and should this person be it? And it's basically a lot of scuttlebutt, and eventually they select a pope. But it's a very swift movie actually for an Oscars drama, which I guess I would call it like kind of like a Veep episode or something in terms of the comedy. Like it's there. These are people in official positions, but there's a gossipiness about them that is very endearing. What did you guys think of Conclave?
I thought it was same. I thought it was great. I thought it was beautiful to watch. The way they shot this film, the color, all the red, it's like beautiful. I thought that the dialogue was sharp and they were giving you plot in rapid succession. When everyone was like, oh, this is an Oscar-worthy movie, I was just like, oh, it's a light year. I blame the strike. Like, we're in a dearth and a deficit. Because in a normal year, this would just be a movie that we all like. I was really surprised when I went to go see it at how older the audience was. This movie, more than others, has been bringing in people over 50, which is good. And it's a sign that, like, people still want movies for grown folks. You know what I'm saying? So I like it. I don't see Oscar written all over it, but what do I know? And it's a slow year, but I loved it.
I think I felt like it was a pleasant enough movie that was entertaining enough and pretty unpretentious. Like, it's not laden with heavy themes. But it does feel like a movie that's released mid-year and doesn't feel like an Oscars contender in terms of like the gravitas of what's happening in the picture. Because to be honest, I don't think this is a movie really about anything. It's just, we have to select this pope, and that person is sort of a shady character. This person's sort of a shady character. What's going on in his past? And we unpack those things, and then we get to a pope. So I was sort of waiting for more there to be there. And now I'm also hearing, speaking of the Best Supporting Actors category, that Isabella Rossellini may be a contender for her role in this movie. Girl, she has 2 lines.
No.
She has two lines in the film.
She has 2 lines. I felt like, you know how you'll read a really great New Yorker profile of like truffle pigs
all the time,
and you're like, this is such beautiful writing, it's incredible, but then you finish it and you never think of it again, and it changes your world in no way, and it signifies nothing. That was Conclave.
I think you are exactly right. That is exactly how I feel about this movie. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I like this movie quite a bit more. I
like it too. I
think Isabella Rossellini. I would love if she got a supporting actress nomination. She could go toe to toe with Beatrice Straight. Okay. She won for her 5 minutes on screen.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Those were 5 full minutes. We are not going to bring in Beatrice to this. Not Mrs. Poltergeist.
People also forget Viola Davis in Doubt. That was a very, very short role.
Yes, but she does more than both of those women, to be honest. But true. The things Isabella Rossellini did with a copy machine, come on. That scene was, it was great.
You mean told him how to operate it? Oh, come on. Yes. That's not one of the 5 best supporting actresses of the year.
I really enjoyed this film. Obviously, there's been an older audience in the film, but there's also been a younger audience. There's been, it's one of those films that is sort of a film for older people, like a serious grown folks film that also manages to catch the zeitgeist. I think because of, the election, and also, just with the gossipiness of it and it being actors that, like film people love, Ray Fiennes, Isabella Rossellini, John Lithgow, Stanley Tucci. There is just so much fun in it. People are making Gossip Girl, Mean Girls memes about the film. And I think that my audience was older people and also like younger people watching it too. And everyone's having a great time laughing at it. I personally felt like the film is a lot about convictions and faith and having, like gone to a Jesuit high school and college. I was relating to a lot of it, but unfortunately, I don't want to ruin the film for people, but I feel like the ending of the movie and like this actual selection of the quote for me falls flat. It comes out of nowhere. Maybe it works better in the book that it's based on, but I don't know, for such a film that's talking about the murkiness of doubt, and, not needing to be sure of anything, you need doubt to really have faith, to have such a definitive ending, I guess, felt very pat, for what else we'd watched before.
I agree. It came out of nowhere. And it's like, if you wanted to make a point with this, you needed to spend more time on it. You just showed this to me and then it was over. I didn't get it. It didn't make me feel bad about the rest of the film, but it was a head scratcher as it closed.
Okay, yeah. I just want to say about that. So the person who was revealed to be the Pope, in a pretty good performance, by the way.
Yes.
Wait, question, and this is a spoiler, so go past this if you're listening and want to watch Conclave, spoiler free. Why is this person the Pope? Why did they get any traction?
Well, because clearly the old Pope who was dying wanted this person to get it, but they never tell us why. It's never revealed. Yeah. We don't get enough of the dying Pope's motivations to make it make sense.
Yeah, right. No, it's just like, oh, okay, like you through the several rounds of voting, somehow you gained traction. It was super weird. I don't know.
But it was all the old Pope's design, and it was just like, yeah. I didn't get it.
A speech about war and Afghanistan and, whatever. There was a lot more that could have been mined. Like, I particularly love the Italian Pope, who is so much against, like, tradition.
Vaping.
Sorry, he's so much for tradition, but he's also vaping.
Yeah.
The contradictions of him being like, we haven't had a Italian Pope in 40 years. And it's like, well, obviously, that's like the lifespan of a single Pope, so. He's a very funny character. But, I don't know, just watch it for, like, the secrecy and the fun of it. When people are pulling out secret letters that have been hidden behind bedstands, like you're in it. You're in it.
It's Nancy Drew,
it's
but
fun. Yeah, it's fun because it's so linear.
Yeah.
It's like this side, that side. Who's gonna win? Barker.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense. I like that about it. And it was great gowns, beautiful gowns, literal great gowns, beautiful gowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those are two films that people are really chatting about this week. I loved Conclave a lot more than Emilia Perez, but Lewis enjoyed it. So if you want to be on Lewis's side, if you text 555
wow 1-800-IDOL go idols 3 or whatever.
The only times you really needed to vote, for Jennifer Grey and Dancing with the Stars and American Idol.
Ding.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. When we are back, keep it. And we are back for our favorite segment of the episode. It is Keep It. Lewis, what's on your mind?
This is the most exhausting Keep It of the past 6 months. And I'm going to try to keep it abridged, but keep it to this entire Nicole Scherzinger saga. One, because of the twists and turns it keeps turning up. But then secondly, because of what it has done to me. Why am I wrapped up in this woman who I have enjoyed in a not careful way over the past 20 years? I've enjoyed PCD and doll domination and whatever. And now it is on my mind. Nicole Scherzinger, who was enjoying, as we have discussed on Keep It, a phenomenal return, quoth Norma Desmond, to
Nicole
prominence,
Assance.
thanks to Sunset Boulevard on Broadway, where she gives an amazing performance. Unfortunately, some social media posts have turned up in recent days, going into a week, that are dubious as hell. One of them is her responding to a picture of Russell Brand waving a hat in the air that says "Make Jesus First Again," I believe is the wording. And she says, "Where can I get one of those?" Now, let me just say this. Before people immediately connected this to, oh, she must be a Trump voter, since it looks like a red Trump hat. The fact that she was caring about Russell Brand is already DEFCON 1. Because this is one of the scariest celebrities we have. This is a man who is extremely smart, and is also extremely manipulative, like literally a huckster now for conspiracy theories on the right. I don't know what happened, what broke in the brain, but it is not normal. He is not okay. There are, of course, also credible accusations of rape and assault against this man. So the fact that she's loving Jesus in his presence means either she is clearly not aware of what is going on with Russell Brand, or there's some magical thinking going on, period. But that is not the last social media post going on with Nicole Scherzinger. She liked a post from RFK Jr. that was, I believe, for Trump, which indicates to me she must be anti-vax or something. I don't know why she's clued into the RFK thing. But anyway, everybody online saw this, figured this out, thought Nicole Scherzinger, who has long time been pro-life, so that sort of seemed to shape this argument. She must be a pro-Trump person, even though she was an Obama person in 2008. Eventually, she released a statement saying, I understand why you guys all thought this. That's not the case. This has nothing to do with how I voted, even though she didn't say how she voted, which would have ended this whole thing if she had voted for Kamala Harris. A couple days later, something came up that indicated she wore a Kamala shirt sometime before the election. What is up with that picture? It does not look like Nicole Scherzinger to me. I am so sorry to be a conspiracy theorist on my own.
Yeah. I am of so many ways about this because, one, obviously the Russell Brand of it all, and also reminding yourself that on Masked Singer, she's friends with Jenny McCarthy and Robin Thicke, and so it's very just a merry band, as it were, a merry band of thieves and anti-vaxxers, and I can understand the Russell thing only in the sense that, like, she is very Jesus-y. And, they do support people who, like, Russell Brand, we know he's a huckster, but he's done a very public shift to, I'm religious now.
Also, just pause. From Pussycat Doll to very Jesus-y. Go off, Nicole. like that whole journey, period. I mean, Eden's Crush, Garden of Eden's Crush.
Oh my God. Biblical scholar, Ira Madison.
She was letting us know from the beginning. Okay. Yeah. It's very weird because I also have friends who know Nicole Scherzinger and are like, she is not a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
They say, I've been around her before. I'm just like, she is very hard in her convictions about Jesus. Yes. But does not seem like a Trump supporter at all. Has never really given that indication. So I want to at least maybe give her the benefit of the doubt in that. But the other thing I want to say about this is that there have been reports now from people like this resistance shit popping up because there have been people now like claiming she's being booed on stage at Sunset Boulevard. No, the fuck she isn't.
That'll fix it. But also, that'll fix our politics.
Right.
Just boo her on stage. Okay.
She's not being booed. If she was booed, one, there would be actual reports of it in like page 6. You wouldn't just be like a couple people saying it online. You wouldn't hear it from a friend that it happened. 2, those tickets are expensive as hell. Okay, nobody is paying $200+. I saw it last week. Nobody's paying $200+ to then go and like boo this woman and then possibly be kicked out. 3. Broadway is kept alive by tourists, okay? Do you think the people in the Midwest, we saw the election results. We saw what the results were even in New York, So, like, I don't think there are that many, enemies going to see her. They're not going to boo her because she maybe voted for Trump.
Do you think it was maybe one of the people booing was like Kermit from Pussycat Dolls? Just like snuck in there. So she's like, there's
Patty from outside.
Yeah.
Yes. My thing with the whole Nicole drama is that it speaks to a larger phenomenon that I think celebrities came out of pandemic lockdown with. All of them thought it was a great idea to begin to run their own social media. This is the root of all evil. They got to stop. Why are you in there commenting? Why are you in there? Like, let someone else do all of that for you. You're not supposed to do it. The other week, Sarah Paulson was posting something on Instagram where she was like, by posting this statement, I say that I do not give Meta permission to use my likeness for AI. And it's like, girl, that shit my auntie would post. Why are you doing this? Celebrities should not run their socials. This is the problem. This is the root of all evil.
Because also writing, where can I get this hat? What does that get you?
Come on. Yeah, ask your team to get you the hat. You have people who work for you. You can, like, I just don't get it. Like, the only celebrity who does a good job of being online perpetually is SZA. SZA creeps in comments in the funniest way, and she's just like a fan like the rest of us. I like her doing it. Everyone else, stop.
And a big fan of Clairo's album Charm. Shout out to that.
Yes.
So, yeah,
yes.
we love SZA.
Nicole, could the hat have been any color but red? Like, it's just like the thinking on this. It's just like ridiculous.
Yeah. I will say, though, as a woman with many gay friends, though, gays also have to admit a little bit of responsibility for this, because how many gays run around with their own like versions of MAGA hats that say like "Make America Gay Again" and do shit like that, you know? Like, I think we've just led people to believe that parodies of the hat are fine.
Yeah, and it's like, no, don't do that. Stop.
Anyway, I just want to say that I finally listened to the Sunset Boulevard soundtrack again after this thing happened. But yeah, it is so good, except the magic was dimmed for me for the first time because of this whole thing. So I'm still rooting for her for the Tony, because it was such a one-of-a-kind theatrical experience, and I love what she did with the character. But anyway, we have to move on to our next Keep It. Okay. Sam, what is your Keep It?
My Keep It is all of these very, very angry liberals on the internet policing celebrities' follows in the aftermath of the election. I've seen this happen a few times. A celebrity I follow or know will have to post to their stories and be like, stop coming after me because like I follow the GOP on Instagram. Like I follow it to be informed of what they're doing, like not because I support them. And I've had people creep into the comment sections of videos that I'm in to trash folks I've been interviewing because they're like, I see you follow this person. It is so wild to me that anyone on the left thinks that that is a productive form of activism. So like this concern, trolling, and policing of strangers' internet follows, it's like that's the lesson we took from Kamala losing. I don't get it. I hate it. Keep it. It's pointless. It's dumb. Like, why? It is the weirdest thing to me. I've never even thought to go look at some other random stranger's follows online. I don't want to know. I don't care. And now it's a thing that people obsess over. It drives me crazy. I think it's so dumb.
Well, I just want to say that I follow Ice from the original American Gladiators because she was my favorite American Gladiator. And I did happen to look into her follows one time, and I believe Breitbart was in there, and maybe Megyn Kelly. Uh-oh. So just to know, it's not that I support what she does politically, but I love what she does on the rings and on the wall and during the Eliminator. Thank you.
Yes. And it's like, I don't know what happened, what worm got into people's brains that makes them think that this does anything productive. It does nothing productive. I don't know. I hate it. Yeah, and it's like we're just in this moment where I can see the anger of the left manifesting in just like unproductive ways. I'm also tired of like all the liberals saying, well, I'm not talking to any of them anymore. I'm unfollowing everybody. Everybody leave me alone. And it's like, you can do that. But if you ever want to build a winning coalition again, you're going to have to find a way to communicate and build organizing power with people that you don't like. It feels like everyone has lost the purpose of politics in this moment. The purpose of politics is to win. It is not to just be right. And so I hate that. Go ahead.
And no, it's not about teams, too, and about, like this. I mean, there's been a lot of talk, about like young men and who they're listening to and who they're voting for. And it's just the idea of like throwing away an entire voter base just because you're angry at them seems very short-sighted. You can, but politicians should not. And we really do need to talk about winning elections and amassing power.
Yeah, it's like I was talking to a friend and they were like, well, are those 73 million people who voted for Trump and support Trump, they're all racist. And I said to them, I know black men in my family who support Trump, and I would not use the word racist against them, and I would not even think or believe that they actually love everything that man does. It's more complicated and nuanced than that, and saying that right now on the left is like a crime, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And like there's just this absolute lack of entertaining any idea of nuance around the folks who didn't vote for the person you want them to vote for. I'm tired of it. It gets on my nerves. They can keep that.
not to boil things down to a base thing, but you have to look at how things are aspirational to people. A lot of people listen to Joe Rogan's or Logan Paul's and, like then Hassan Piker's, and Pod Save America, because they are aspirational. People are wanting to be them. Trump is an aspiration to a lot of men in this country, unfortunately, and people, because he gets to behave with impunity, like nothing bad happens to him for his bad behavior. And I think, we have to look towards aspirational politics and movements instead of, criticizing. And that's all I'll say about that.
And understanding that, like, not everybody who supported Trump did it because they liked how racist he was. A lot of folks liked that his anger seemed to match their own anger. It was an emotional response, and you're saying to yourself, which candidate most gets where I'm at emotionally? And for whatever reason, they felt more of that with Trump than with Kamala. And, like, that for them was valid enough. And I don't know. People got to understand that. You got to understand that.
How could
a nation of Howard Beals.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We're back to network. Oh my God. How could we be felled by vibes? I thought that's the thing we had. Apparently, that's the one thing we don't have. I wrote.
You're working on the vibe checks, so
that's true.
You know, I'm trying.
You focus on that. Okay?
We're trying, girl. We're trying.
Okay. My keep it this week goes to the conundrum that is stressing me out in this post-X world. We're leaving Elon Musk's plaything.
Yep.
Really leave it. It's like it's an echo chamber. There's nothing but Nazis on there and ads for like conservative podcasts and things. And it's just like the small amount of people that you follow is not representative of anything that's actually going on in that sphere. And especially if you're a journalist or like some other like artist or author like trying to get your shit out there. You need to be on a different platform that's not suppressing that shit in the first place. Because a lot of outside links are suppressed by Elon Musk. My keep it, though, goes to this current conundrum now of Threads versus Blue Sky.
Too much.
Which one am I doing? Which one?
And then they don't even tell you when you post to Instagram, it's going to Threads. I didn't know this. It's auto-posting. It's weird. I'm confused. Sorry, go ahead.
It does feel like Instagram is like the logical choice because so much of us are connected to Instagram anyway. And like I think the layout is like fine. But also I went so cold on that when it came out that I haven't even entertained it since.
Yeah, but Mark Zuckerberg, is also in control. And do you want to support another billionaire?
Come on.
But we support a lot of billionaires. Some of us work with them, and so I think that that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I will also say that Blue Sky is very nebulous. I don't know. It feels like Blue Sky. I was getting away from X Twitter in the first place because I was just tired of like the anger and stuff, right? And it seems like everyone has taken their election frustrations to Blue Sky right now, and so I'm wanting to join it, but it's a lot of people doing threads, a lot of people making long posts about how they're angry right now, and it's like I don't want to read that.
Right. It's almost like social media is just the mistake in general. Maybe that's what we're reckoning with.
I was talking with Taylor Lorenz last week, and I asked her, have we just left the social media Garden of Eden? And is the reality that every social media platform that we're on from now on will just be less fun than early Insta and early Facebook? It's just not going to be fun again. We've like matured past that moment in our social media lifespan.
I'm gonna stick to just firebombing the comments of people who underestimate Christine McVie on Fleetwood Mac videos. That's where I'm gonna do most of the majority of my posting.
I will say the only portion of the internet, social internet, that like brings me joy are the reaction comments to the horrible food TikToks. Like when some Midwestern lady makes the worst casserole known to man, and there's a reaction video next to it of some black person being like, oh, no, you didn't. The best part are the comments under that video. That's all I want now. But everything else, no.
I do want to say, though, that people need to leave Teenie alone, that white girl who's cooking the mac and cheese. Because, first of all, she's hurt nobody. The food looks good. And I think Black people need to heal. Because why are you mad that this white woman is cooking mac and cheese? A thing that it's not even like Black culture that she's stealing. It's fucking food. It's cheese.
Yes.
And pasta.
Also carrying what these white ladies are cooking is letting them win. Go cook your own shit. Yeah, why are you worried about them? It's wild to me. The whole the racial politics of food TikTok is kind of hilarious and wild. I don't get it, but the comments are fun. The comments are very fun.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
read some books, listen to some podcasts. Don't be online. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm rooting for crossword puzzles, but not even the ones in the New York Times right now because you can't cross. You
don't be a
cross that big
scab.
line. Damn it.
Don't be a scab.
So you have to go buy them in the store. I'm so sorry, but they are available near the checkout.
Also, I will say, if during this New York Times tech strike they just decide that they can no longer support connections, I'd be okay with that. I hate that game. I hate it.
And there's a better version on the British game show Only Connect, as I say time and time again, and they stole it from Only Connect. So go ahead and look that up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring back board games with friends, okay? Gather around the table, roll those dice, and move your thimble past go, and do not collect $200.
Right, yeah.
There you go.
All right, Sam Sanders, thank you for gracing us with your presence. Once again,
delightful. Thank y'all for having me.
And refresh us on where we can hear you both ways.
Yeah. Check out Vibe Check every Wednesday wherever you get your podcast. It's a weekly culture catch-up with my dear friends Zach Stafford, Saeed Jones, and me. Then on Friday, check out my interview show, The Sam Sanders Show, in podcast feeds on YouTube and in LA on the radio Fridays and Saturdays on KSRW. I'm at all the socials at Sam Sanders. And come find me.
And then come back to Keep It. We support our friends within reason.
Yeah.
Yes. And y'all come to Santa Monica. Come on down to Santa Monica and tape a show.
Let me charter a helicopter.
Well,
okay.
I won't be doing that. But
I know.
Thank you for being here. I always love when someone disagrees with Lewis on a movie take. We got to get a little spicy here.
Please,
you know?
let more of it.